EmPHorium in the Philippines. I want to say magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. For the people in the US watching this live EmPHorium. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for taking time to check it out. Check us out. EmPHorium is a unique US base, the first of its kind. Okay, the first of its kind. It's a Philippine-made and inspired product showroom and global business center. And its purpose is to create awareness as well as sales opportunities for Philippine-made products, services, and investments in the US market. And EmPHorium is actually a physical place. Like I said, that's where I'm at right now. It's located at 3250 Wilshire Boulevard, number 602 in Los Angeles, California. So if you want to come and visit, please do so. We welcome you. Just go ahead and let us know when you're coming. But what the live EmPHorium is, this is one of the tools that we use to create the awareness, the sales opportunities by people watching, and hopefully organically, or what we're doing on social media is reaching other people. And I think it is. At the end of the day, what we want is that awareness creation. Okay, so that's what live at the EmPHorium is. And today it is packed full of amazing stuff. Hello, everyone. My name is Ferdinand Soriano. I am your host for this episode of Live at the EmPHorium. It is special edition. We're not doing any live demos today. So for all of you who have tuned in to watch a live, I'm going to disappoint you today, but it's okay. You know why? We have an amazing guest today. Not only is she smart, she's beautiful, she's insightful. You're going to get all of that today with my special guest today. And it's, like I said, it's a live at the EmPHorium special edition. The name of our segment is called Insights and Practical Approaches of Attitude in Business and How It Helps. Now, most of the time, I tell you all about EmPHorium and what it's all about, and I'm not going to fail you by not doing it today. But just for those who have never tuned in to an episode of Live at the EmPHorium, let me give you a little bit of a brief background of what the EmPHorium is about and why we are live. Now, EmPHorium is a US-based, Philippine-made, and inspired product showroom and global business center. And its main purpose is to create awareness and sales opportunities for Philippine-made products, services, and investments in the U.S. market. And Live at the EmPHorium is one of those tools that we use to, we lean heavily on it to create that awareness, to create that sales opportunities to online entrepreneur buyers, to wholesale buyers, to everyone who is just a fan of Philippine-made products. But besides just doing the live demos, some of the things that we do here on Live at the EmPHorium, and where we feature our vendor collaboration. We feature suppliers. We feature people that help companies, that help the clients and customers of EmPHorium to empower them to be able to create a certain confidence in bringing their products from the Philippines into the U.S. market. And today we're probably going to be focused more on how to empower Philippine-made products or exporters or manufacturers by setting the mind straight, so to speak. Now, December 1st here in the U.S. And, the end of the year is coming along, and hurry it along. Of course, I'm not, but I'm a big fan of preparing. So this segment, and for the rest segment, probably for the month of December, is how do you prepare 20? Okay, obviously we have to live in the moment, be mindful, and that's what it's all about, right? But at the same time, it doesn't hurt to sort of kind of plan out what we want to do, to be excited about, and talk about the past, the present, and the future. And today's segment is all about that. And I'm excited for her to have here. Not only is she all of what I just described, but let me properly introduce you. Let me go ahead and tell you a little bit about she's my dear cousin, but a very amazing cousin who has a lot of knowledge that I'm very excited to be able to tell you. Now, her background, a little bit about her background, okay? She has a BA in Humanities with specialization in Communication Arts from the University of Asia and the Pacific. She has in University of Navarra in Pamplona, Spain. She has a BA in Management Development Program in Tokyo, Japan. Singapore Management University National Series, Certificate Course on Management Essentials by Mike Gym, Singapore, certificate course in project management, University of Asia Pacific, art, life coach certification, art therapy, points of view. She has so many educational background that qualifies her. Not only just that she has that background on an educational level, but also because she's a human, being. She knows how to talk to people, how to empower them. She went from the one thing that I liked about her background is she was in the corporate world for 25 years, worked for multinational companies. So she's not about just education, but she's also about experience. So she understands what it's like to work at a local, small company to a big multinational. Okay, so without delaying the inevitable, which is to introduce this wonderful human being of a cousin of mine and be able to help me sort of empower and educate our viewers, I want to go ahead and introduce Kai Imperial Soriano Santa Maria. Did I do that right already? Like, did I really introduce everything?
That was a pretty interesting introduction, and I love the cousin bit, obviously. But I am so happy to be with you. Thank you so much for having me.
I figured, it's all about this, right? I mean, no nepotism or anything. I just feel like I have to put it in there. I'm very proud to be your cousin. I know that you're helping a lot of people in your industry, a lot of business people get their minds straight, so to speak. That's how I use to be able to get them straight in doing this. Let's check. Am I coming in clear? You're coming in clear. How am I coming into you?
You know what? There's a little bit of a delay that I'm experiencing from over here, but I'm getting the gist of what you're saying. So I think we're good to go.
Now, let's go ahead and talk about you.
All right. So, I mean, obviously, based on what you just told everyone who's watching, good morning from the Philippines. I am into education. I am into really learning new things, right? But apart from that, apart from my history of 25 years in corporate, where I was based in Singapore for 12 years managing Asia Pacific for a multinational firm, specifically on research of investment banking and private equity, I eventually shifted to my passion, and it's really about empowering and educating and developing people. So I took my certificates on life coaching, career coaching in Singapore before coming back to the Philippines in 2018. When I came back to the Philippines, it was really about looking to help the local Filipino, entrepreneur. So right now I am into business coaching for entrepreneurs and then also career coaching employees who are in various companies, local or multinational. And there are just a variety of things that you can talk about when it comes to career. So it's really my passion. When I was in corporate, that's, I think, one of the things that I really enjoyed, managing people. And it wasn't just about managing, Filipinos, because I ended up really looking at everyone from Australia to China, from India to, Southeast Asia. And it's really not about, your nationality. I have found in my stint that, the human experience is really encompasses culture, right? So I love it. I love developing people. And then I'm also a communications and leadership trainer for a variety of companies. I help them organize and help the team, not just talk among each other. Obviously, communication is that, but really deliver the message and deliver it effectively to the point that they are working together towards their goals. I think that's one of the more important things, right, when you're running a business. And then I was also, a dream came true for me when I came back to the Philippines when I was little. I wanted to be a teacher, and I was offered a position, as a professor of business communication at the University of Asia and the Pacific. So I am in touch with college students. I still mentor them. and a lot of them are very entrepreneurial. And I think you would agree with me that really entrepreneurship is an exciting avenue, but it's really how you can also help the economy, right? And then currently, I also manage our family's architectural firm. We have a real estate firm and we've got condominiums in Makati. So we do leasing, rentals, commercial and residential spaces. And then finally, I also have, a side hustle because one of the passions I have is doing arts and crafts. And every Christmas, I come up with these ideas to sell, and for this Christmas, I am selling leather personalized tags and bags. Right? So I'm all over the place, but I'm all over the place in a very exciting way. If that
Well,
makes sense.
when I read the bio,
Yeah.
um, I didn't know all of that about you, and you have the capacity and the bandwidth to do all those things, and I'm not surprised. But
Oh,
I just look at it as that the fact that you're doing all those things, it also helps you give a different perspective on all different types of people's business and situations. So to me,
right.
I would expect nothing less than what you do, because like I said, you have different perspectives, and that's what I like about the way you approach, I think, your business, or the way you approach to help people, because you
That's
can relate in so many levels.
I love that you said that because just recently, one of the stints, the projects that I finished was training somebody on sales, right? I wasn't into sales, but what happened to me was I was very much in contact with people who did sales. And as I was talking to them in Singapore and even locally in the Philippines, I have seen where they had to improve, where they could do better, and when I put together this program, it was really tailor fit to the industry that this client was in and to what she was experiencing, right? The difficulties that she was experiencing. So, after that training gave me feedback, she was up and running, and it's just really good for her. And sales is one of the difficult things in business. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah, I think
I think we're going to get a little bit more into that, because what our topic for today is really just like just to reiterate what we said in the beginning, what I said in the beginning. The title of this episode of Live at the EmPHorium Special Edition is Insights and Practical Approaches of Attitude, or Gratitude, I should say, not attitude, in business, and how it helps. That is so powerful, especially these days. So where I want to take this time of having this conversation with you, Kay, is more like, let's talk about the past, present, and the future. Let's use EmPHorium as sort of like a marker, like
yeah.
something that we can refer to. But also, I sort of want really to the people watching us to pay attention to the things that you're saying, because what we're about to really discuss is more like it applies to everybody. Everybody, to a certain degree, is experiencing all the different changes, the stresses, all the different things that you feel like you can't control, but you're trying to control, and you
Correct.
don't know how to handle it. But I like the title of this episode, because sometimes when you just sit quietly and think about what you're about to do for the day, or even before you do all of that stuff, and then you have this idea of gratitude. I think that's what I want to get into with you before or after we take a quick break, okay?
For sure. Yes.
Born from our humble home and our desire to share true natural freshness with you, Lemoncito Concentrate with honey is the best there is. Rich in vitamin C, Lemoncito reinvents your mom's favorite tonic for a cold or sore throat into a delicious and nutritious drink. No additives, no artificial flavors, no preservatives, 100% natural. Lemoncito, deliciously nutritious.
I could actually use a limoncito right now, because I'm so thirsty from talking too much the whole day. But I won't do that at the moment, but these are the people that I want to say thank you to because they continue to support EmPHorium. Lemoncito, so I want to go ahead and say a shout out, as they say, to Donna Crespo Elizaga of Zigmund Enterprises for supporting EmPHorium and having their products here in the U.S. as far as the products being in the showroom, like I said, here in Los Angeles, California. Okay, so for those just tuning in, I have my wonderful, lovely, and insightful and smart cousin. I always have to say the cousin because that's just more my agenda, Kate. That I'm proud to be your cousin. But I want to have this discussion because, again, it's almost the end of the year. I'm not trying to rush it. Trust me, I'm trying to be mindful. But I do believe in planning. I do believe in making sure that moving forward, we're all in a certain mindset. But before we get into the future, let's talk about sort of like the past, like what's happening. Let's use EmPHorium as an example, or whatever you want to interject as far as where people have come from in terms of, maybe we can use a pre-pandemic or, during the pandemic kind of thing and seeing how all of that is playing out right now with people's minds. So why don't we sort of talk about that? Tell me what you think about during the pandemic, how people were, or even pre-pandemic. Let's just do that. Whatever you feel that people can get some sort of benefit from in terms of what you've observed about how to be grateful regardless of the situation.
For sure, for sure. And I remember speaking with you in 2020 when I was stuck in the States for 6 months, couldn't get a flight back to the Philippines. Right?
Yes.
So, before that, prior to that, 2019, things were up and running. People were excited for the future. We were looking at the next decade, right? Everyone
Yes.
was geared up, for something. And then this happened, right? The pandemic happened. And then suddenly people were really, uncomfortable to say the least, because no one knew until when this was going to be happening. I was I was talking to some people recently, and when they look back at 2019 and 2020, the early parts of 2020, when they were talking about the lockdowns, when they were talking about, stay in your houses and all these things, they were looking at what, 2 months of disruption, 3 months, 6 months, what? Oh my goodness. We are talking years, right? Looking back, hindsight is 2020, and we're looking at years. And we are looking at, some businesses not making it, some businesses having to pivot to other, explore other things that they had to do just to keep afloat. But, I think really it was such a disruption to a mindset of hope, because as the people looked at the next decade that was coming in, people were just really looking at what they could do, in the 20s. And but the thing is, some didn't survive, right? Some didn't survive, and there are a variety of reasons. Sometimes you can look at the financial aspect, but a lot of it is also, the mindset, right? Some people just had to give up, and some people did, and that's really sad. When I was going out, just last year, some of the malls here, you would see a lot of the spaces closed. And I would remember, yeah, that was where this was, and that was where that was, right? Now it's 2022. I was at the big mall yesterday, and my goodness, just it's like nothing happened, right? Everybody is out,
Exactly.
people are shopping, things are open, not a single space is closed, right?
You
So, but
know,
I'm getting ahead.
no, I was gonna say that I want to go back to that thought, when you were stuck here, and you kind of know what happened to me around that time, and I'm not going to go into that one, but at least not for now. But you see the mindset at that time, everybody was fearful. I'm trying to make this relevant to our audience, because I'm always, when I do these live shows, I want to target or point this out to Philippine exporters, because at that time a lot of people were probably be excited before the pandemic to do more business in the U.S. Right, and then what happened is that because of the COVID, a lot of things like you said, lockdowns and the supply chain issues and things of that nature, people got sort of scared. They didn't
Yes.
know what they're going to do. I mean, not they're worried about not only the local stuff, but why would I worry about the global when I'm having an issue with the local situation about my business? So, with that being said, do you remember anything about the way people were thinking and how they were surviving that moment? And
Yes.
because I sort of want to do this baby steps towards the
Yeah.
future, but I want to push back as far as the mindset at that time.
Sure, sure. I mean, as I mentioned, right, there was so much hope going into the 2020s. But when the pandemic hit, there was a retraction for so many businesses. I mean, suddenly, when things weren't stopping at the second month, at the third month, at the fourth month, half a year was already going by and things didn't seem like it was going to end. Suddenly, people stopped in their tracks and just became so risk averse that nobody wanted to really take a chance on so many of their plans,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
and those who didn't look at another way to deal with it were the ones who eventually closed.
Yes, that's
So
exactly that's exactly what I was trying to get from your observation is exactly that. Like that moment in time, people who didn't have hope or didn't have a sort of a grasp on their mind,
yes,
people that are newbies, so to speak, in the business, thinking
yes,
about going global was probably freaking them out, right? But at the same time, the ones who were successful and forged ahead,
yeah,
maybe they've seen something like this before, but all of that stuff is really unprecedented, right?
correct,
So
correct.
yeah,
Correct. So usually when you're dealing with an unprecedented something, and it doesn't have to be a global pandemic. Every business owner, all of us, there is a point in our lives, in our careers, in our business when we're faced with something that we've never tried before. And the mindset always has to be a curiosity, an interest to finding out what is the way through this, right? So, one of the things that I am always talking about when I do my motivational speaking is the growth mindset. And I'm sure, a lot of people have heard of that. But the growth mindset is all about looking at a way through a situation, whether it's over a hill, under a tunnel, through a tunnel, or to the sides of a barrier that you're faced with, right? Because there's always a way. And it may not be always on you, relying on yourself. Obviously, there's a part of you that's going to have to think this through, but this is the time where you reach out to people who have been through the same thing or who have experienced something more than you, you know, not necessarily an expert, but somebody who has been there longer than you have, right? Who has experienced something more than you have, perhaps. But the point is this, it's really about not giving up because there's always a way, there's always something to try, and that is what we want to think of. Make sense?
that makes an amazing sense because I remember those feelings, and a lot of people probably felt the same way. Some probably felt hopeless, or
Yes.
they're pulling their hair. Look at me, I'm starting to go bald from it, because I'm always pulling my hair, trying to figure out what to do. But at the end of the day, I really wanted to just sort of have everybody live back in that moment. Not that I'm trying to push you back there. It's just because at the end of the day, every year has been, or even every day has taught
Yes.
us to be more appreciative that we're still going, regardless maybe of the challenge, right? So again, for the past, I think it's always about being thankful, even at that point.
For sure.
And
And there's and
yeah,
it's for sure. Sorry, go ahead, please.
no, go ahead, no, go ahead, please.
No, I know it's cliche, but there's always something to be thankful for, right? There's always something to be thankful for. And it's a discipline that we have to really develop in us to find that part of the business of ourselves, of the people around us, to find what we should still be thankful for, because that can be that line that we hold on to live to the next day, right? I remember talking to you, just looking back, and I remember, you were, yeah, pulling your hair out, but really racking your brains how to help people overcome that fear and that shyness about going into export. I remember that. And I think one of the really beautiful things about what you do is that it's for people, it's for other people, right? And what is that for you? For those who are listening right now, what is that passion that's driving you to keep on holding on? Because even that, you should be thankful for. Not everyone has that drive, not everyone has that calling, right? But
I,
that
I
is
just
there.
I just got chills as you were saying that, because Emporium wouldn't have been possible, or where I'm sitting, if it wasn't for that.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what's so ridiculous. But finish your point, and I want to add on to that point, because of the pandemic,
Yes.
good or bad, that's why Emporium happened. So finish your
Yes.
thought.
Yes. Well, I was just going to say, just to conclude that, is that as you are grateful, you're going to find the opportunities in that gratitude, right? So please feel free to share your insight
No,
on that.
no,
Yeah.
to me, because of that, because of what happened with Emporium, a lot of people, like you said, were locked down, right? And then all of a sudden, you see this glimmer of hope that things might start to come down.
Yeah.
But because of all of that pent up situation, there was an opportunity to present the idea of Emporium to the Department of Trade and to the
Sure.
consulate office here in Los Angeles. They had an insight, they had a vision also that I shared with them. And by just
Yes.
me saying that through a
Yes.
social media post, because
Yes.
they understand that and the people really want to make it happen and keep things moving, that's what happened. That's why I'm saying that you have to constantly be thinking about it and be thankful for things, good, bad, or whatever.
That's
So
right.
again, I just wanted to add that on, to what you're saying, that certain things happen, and good or bad, there's a reason. Corny again, we're doing the cliche thing, but
Yeah.
it is true. I
Yeah.
don't know.
That's
Maybe
right.
it's me getting older, but I keep saying these corny or cliche things. When I was a kid, I used to think that. I go, did you just say that? That's so cliche or corny. But I go, I just said that to somebody, and it's funny. I'm having like an out of body experience saying that. So it's funny.
But
So,
that's true, that's true. It is funny, but it's also true. That's the thing, right? and and
mhm.
and the more we say these things, the more we realize that it's true. And I think, one of the things that we always have to remember is that us as entrepreneurs, we're here for the marathon. It's never a sprint. And for us to finish the race, there are going to be hurdles, there are going to be things that are going to just pop up in our way. And you know what, the eye has to be on the ball, the eye has to be on the prize, the eye has to be on the finish line. What do you really want to accomplish? And as you
Yeah.
look at that far horizon, you find the silver lining, and then you kind of just jump the hurdles. Again, the
Yep.
corny things there, but it's true.
Yeah. I'm gonna start making some corn chips or something there at home, because we're doing a lot of this corny stuff on the air, my dear cousin Kay. Um, Before we go to the next break, I do want to invite. I'm sure that the people, regardless of how many are watching us right now, I am just asking all of you. Where I am in, you're in Makati right now, Kay, or where are you?
I'm in Pasig City.
Or you're in Pasig, right? I'm in Los Angeles, California. So, this is not just a conversation between me and Kay. If anybody's watching, you're watching from, U.S. or in the Philippines, please put it in the text and in the chat box and say where you are from. And then if you want to share something, or if you even want to be in the studio with us and discuss this whole thing, which is, I'm having a good time doing it, because it's sort of cathartic to a certain degree, right? Because I feel like I'm talking to Kay and she's doing a session with me, it's really an interview, so she's interviewing me. So I love it because I feel like I really want to, express myself in this manner because I want to share everything that's happened with EmPHorium because it's similar to what other people experience. So when we get back from the break, first tell me where you're watching us right now. What city, what province, and then we'll come back from a break, and then we'll talk about now what's happening now in terms of all the things that we can and cannot control, and let's have the proper mindset on that. So when we get back, let's talk about that part, the present.
Hi, I'm Dave with Papa J's Lamanog. Lamanog is something uniquely Filipino and seems to be one of the great kept secrets of the Philippines. Papa J's Lamanog is a clear, 80-proof spirit made from the nectar of a coconut flower. It's not made from the coconut water. It's not an artificially flavored coconut cocktail. It's made from the nectar taken from the flowers of a coconut tree. With every sip of Papa J's, you really get the breakdown of the islands of where it was made. And you get the brightness of the intense sunshine, you get the sense of the coral and the volcanic soil. You get the salty sweet sugar of the ocean, and you get that weighty feeling from the humidity of the island. The alcohol is produced naturally, and it's distilled in a husk-fired copper still. Can't wait to share it with you.
I'm just joking, of course, but just like I wanted Lemoncito, there are days when I go, that Lambanog sounds really good.
I know exactly what I was thinking. And on the beach.
Yeah. So the beach part, I like that, and I think all of us, to a certain degree, need to have sort of a visual of trying to relax. That's another way to relax, like a visual of Philippines being an amazing place for beaches, right? You're a world traveler, so I know you know what I'm talking about.
For sure. One of the things that I really love when I do my coaching is a pause. And a pause is a 2 to 3 minute just quieting yourselves. And personally, what I do, instrumental music with my client, and we take a vacation. And I ask them to just go to their happy place. Oh my gosh, it's so refreshing after. And that's 2 to 3 minutes of you sitting right there.
Yeah,
Just
do
visualize.
you think it would help if they had Lambanog while they're doing that?
Oh, for sure. Papa J's, for sure.
I want to thank Dave also because he supports EmPHorium. That's his product, and what he's doing with that product, just so that I can tell him that I'm, definitely helping him create awareness, is that Lambanog is he created that knowing that it creates livelihood in the Philippines. By the more he sells it, obviously, the more he is able to feel good about creating the livelihood. And that's the reason why we're talking about EmPHorium, not because I want to just talk about EmPHorium, but I'm saying that we need to, the Philippine manufacturers or any businesses, period, it doesn't matter, you need to keep moving forward because that's what you're trying to achieve. You're trying to achieve that. You're trying to achieve a forward motion so that you can create some sort of, result from that. And in this case, like I said, create livelihoods. And that's one of the things that we're always trying to do. And that's what I love about what we're talking about now, is because that's the results of that, by having the right mindset and having a purpose.
Yes.
Especially,
yes,
right?
Yes. Oh my goodness. It's my turn to get chills because really that's the thing. A lot of times when we think about our businesses and what we need to do, a lot of times it's really, what is it that we want to achieve? But I have found in my coaching for almost 5 years now, one of the biggest drivers is thinking about the people behind you, the people beside you, the people who are affected because you have a great idea and that you are just running with it. I'll tell you a little bit of a personal story. I mentioned earlier when I was introducing myself that I am now managing our family's architectural firm, right? And this was started by my father in the 1970s. So my father was an architect. I say was because he passed in 2021. And he has left with us a legacy of just amazing structures, not just in the Philippines, but in different parts of the world. And one of the reasons why we continue with the business was because every day that my dad came home, he always talked about his team. He always talked about, the business, and it was always in terms of the people, not so much about the clients really, but the people behind him, the draftsmen, the admin stuff, and of course the architects and engineers. And when you are in a business, sometimes this can be double edged, right? This can be the burden that you carry, but this is always also the driver for you to strive to be better, to do better, and to find solutions to whatever problems you have there. No? So yeah, I mean, that's, I think, one of the
I want to add on to that.
yeah.
I want to add on to that, dear cousin, because we're talking about now the present, right? We're talking about what we're dealing with. We're talking about a lot of unprecedented things that are in the horizon, right?
Yes.
But we've had to deal with, as far as business is concerned, as far as business, okay? You've had
Yes.
the COVID, which is still lingering. You have the weather. You have the supply
Yeah.
chain. That's
Yeah.
what we have to deal with. And I'm not asking you to be an expert, because I'm far from being an expert to even comment on that, except just whatever I experience, right? So to
Yes.
me, those are the things that people are juggling with right now, and it's creating a lot of stressors.
Yes.
But at the same time, I don't. I'm focusing on that not because I want to focus on it. I just it's like something. It's like a weed to me. Those things.
Yes.
There's always going to be challenges, but you need
Yes.
to address it. But
Correct.
also stay positive to a certain degree in terms of the way you look at it, right? So
Correct.
give me your perspective on that, and how do you think people are feeling right now based on
Sure.
your clients and what they've said about how they're dealing with the current situation that they're in.
Right. Definitely, I think hope is back. People are more positive just because of what they are seeing. And what are they seeing? We're all pretty visual, right? We're all pretty visual in a sense that we derive an understanding of our environment from what we see. And from what I am seeing and talking to my own clients, what they are seeing is that people are now more interested in looking at what they can do right now, take advantage of the openness, take advantage of people being able to go out and go to the malls, and still doing online shopping. I don't think that's ever going to go away, and I like it because it's very convenient, especially in the Philippines, in Manila where there's traffic, heavy traffic. I think all of these things that the pandemic taught us is something that we can capitalize on, but also, stretch a little bit more now. I want to start with one of the things that you mentioned, which is there are things that we can control and there are things that we cannot. Obviously, there will always be that a sphere within your capacity to control, and there are things that just are out there. And one of the more practical things that I have seen really help my clients is to look at their business plan. And I'm not talking about what 10 million pages of things that you have to review. No, I always talk to them about a business plan that they can look at and that can really help them understand where they should be adjusting, maybe learning something new or pivoting. So what I do with my clients is a free business model canvas, right? You can Google this and you can look at it. It's very easy to do and very easy to use. And the business model canvas breaks down your business in specific areas. Once you have that breakdown, you're able to then really look at specific points where you are having difficulties on. I'll give you a specific example. I was just talking to somebody who has a bake shop, right? And one of the things that was challenging to her was that, one, she was pushing 60, and she was just not very techy, right? She was having difficulty selling online. What was she going to do? How was she going to do this? Who was she going to contact, etc.? All the questions, right? 10 million questions. And then obviously, you know, I she was in this industry where every so many people were also in, right? But what did she do? What we did was focus first on defining her target market. Who was she really targeting? And from that simple conversation, a lot of other doors opened, because at the beginning, she was just looking at herself as a bake shop trying to sell her goods to whoever wanted to buy it. Suddenly, when she defined her target market, she suddenly had a better, clearer vision of how to market her goods, and everything kind of streamed from there. So, what was out of her control? What was out of her control was really, technology, right? What was in her control was learning technology, overcoming the mindset that I am of this age and I can't do this anymore, and all the can'ts in the world, right? Suddenly, you know what? She relaunched her business and she is doing so much better than ever. So,
Well, that's what I mean. But that's what I mean about the mindset. That's
yeah,
why people sometimes need a good friend, sometimes
yeah,
need a good family member to remind them that. Or if they don't have any of that, which might be unfortunate,
yeah,
or even if they have that, they should seek someone like you. Sometimes having a non-family member
correct.
can give that perspective. This is not a plug for you,
For
not because
sure.
I'm not proud, I am, but what I
Yeah,
am saying is that sometimes
yeah,
you need someone to take assessment of who you are to a certain degree, who has the right heart and the right mind in
yeah,
trying to make you be aware of it. Because like you said, the point that's well taken on my part from what you just said is take assessment, take stock. What do you want to
yeah,
do?
yeah,
What do you want to learn? How do you want to overcome?
for
And
sure.
make you move your life forward, because all of those things, everybody right now is scrambling for that.
For
Everybody,
sure.
most people. I don't care if you're rich. This is my opinion again. This is my opinion again, people. I don't care if you're rich or you're poor, or whatever in between. You're gonna have an issue because you're only human. You're only human. Yes, your issue may not be as bad as if you had a lot of money, as opposed to somebody who didn't have a lot of money. But everybody has an issue, and you have to know how to deal with those issues. And one of the things that I like what you just said is, like you said, take stock of the situation. What's something that you can control, and what's something that you can control, and do whatever you can, and then just let the other one do whatever it needs to do, because like we just said, you can't control that.
That's right. That's right. And I mean, to your point, right? Whatever your status, there's always going to be a challenge, and it's so interesting because specifically the ones who don't have as much capital are scrambling for investment, right? They don't know where to get it. Sometimes they're trying to pitch it to different people. They're getting some here and there. They're going to banks, financial institutions, etc. The ones who have a lot of capital suddenly are scrambling on about, where to put it. What is
Hmm.
going to get them, into a better situation, right? So there's
Oh yeah.
always that challenge. And we always don't have the answer, right?
Oh yeah.
Ourselves. But
And
definitely
that's why sometimes I feel like,
yeah.
no, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, no, go
No,
ahead.
no,
That was my
no,
point.
no. What I was just gonna say is add on to that, which was many times, yeah. Like I said, I've seen it many times. Like you said, depending on, it doesn't matter. You're well funded, need more money, or and then on a personal level, you're not making enough, or you are making so much, or whatever. There's always going to be something that I feel like in this moment in time where we are, where the whole world is in right now.
Yeah.
One, I feel like sometimes you need to tell people, get out of your own head, because sometimes
Yeah.
you create more problems than is
Yeah.
necessary. But in the same
True.
token, there are real serious, real problems. Yes, I'm not saying anything that there isn't, but I'm just saying is that you need to take stock not only of your skills and what you have, but also your your faculties to a certain degree. I don't want to make it seem like everybody's nuts, right? I'm just saying, yeah, figure out what will ground you, so
Yeah.
your mind will quiet down to a certain degree, whether you use that in business or in a personal level.
Yeah. Analysis paralysis is a term that comes to mind, right? Sometimes that happens. I think one of the more important things also to stress at this point is networking. Kuya, what you're doing is networking across countries. And this, I think people should really, really take advantage of. I know that I'm one of those people who promote you really because on a personal level, I know how much you're able to help, right? I've
Yeah.
introduced some friends to you, right? I mean,
Yeah.
and
Hey, Alan.
yes, mother nurture, yeah, right?
Yeah,
Saint
Mother
seed,
Nature,
right?
right? Man.
The shameless plug, right? Um, but really, I mean, networking is one of the things that we should not take for granted. It doesn't even matter if they're a different industry from yours, right? The
Yeah.
human experience is shared across industries. One of those things that we have to be mindful of.
The problem, it could be in import exporting, it could be in consulting, it could be fintech. It doesn't matter. You're trying to achieve a certain thing. You're trying to, in your mind, create a certain level of success, whether you equate it to money or a stature that you have in the company or in the world. It doesn't matter. You're always trying to do that, or you're just trying to say, well, it's not about all that for me. It's about helping people. Well, you're probably going, well, I want to help more people. I've only helped this many people. I want to help thousands of people. I want to help millions of people. But at the end of the day, we're all trying to do the same thing. And I am in no way perfect at that. I have truly, my wife will tell you all day, I have my own issues. But what I love and what keeps me going is my wife, the way she grounds me, the way my friends and business associates encourage you, even in their own little way, and saying, "You go, boy, you keep going, you keep doing that," because you may not see it, but it's something. So that's why, to me, that's how I think a lot of people need to translate that to their own personal lives, not just in business, even though technically that's what we are trying to do is business, but that goes into the personal level also, because you just got to keep going. Life will throw all this at you, but again, you just got to keep going.
True. And one of the things that I have found helpful in terms of, thinking of inspiration, right, to keep going, is to remember that success may be in the next corner. Imagine if you had stopped now, right?
Mm-hmm.
When
Yep.
the next step was going to bring you to an open door, which was going to allow you that break that you needed. Remember that success can be at that next corner. And with that, wake up the next day having that curiosity again, having that mindset of flexibility, and just keep going, right? It's so easy to say, keep going, but how do we do it? How do we do it? We tell ourselves that success can be at that next corner. If I stop today, that's it.
Yeah, there really isn't. I mean, I've searched for that myself, right? There really isn't, except just that phrase will just mean to different people. But with that being said, I'm just going to take a quick, maybe 60-second break and promote one of the current clients of EmPHorium, because that's what we do. I'm not ashamed. I'll just tell it all day long, plug it, whatever. So this next sponsor is a well-known brand in the Philippines, and we're excited to work with them, even on the on an exploratory level or in a small level. But we hope to grow this relationship and do a lot more for investing in the Philippines, because at the end of the day, that again creates livelihood. So when we come back, we'll go ahead and wrap it up by talking about the future and how to handle the future, as well as, again, if you're watching it, please tell us where you're watching this from. We'd like to hear from you. Give us your feedback on what you think, what we're saying. If it makes sense, it sucks, or whatever, it doesn't matter. We just love interacting with you guys. We know that we're affecting people. So let me go ahead and do a quick 60-second break. told you it was quick.
I was gonna say, wait, that was it.
Yeah. We're very proud because we actually helped on a couple of special live editions of EmPHorium. We featured one of their regional, senior sales director, and we were. The thing that I was trying to tell them is that for all those watching, I don't like it when I'm being sold something. Educate me, and because I might be interested already, and that's what I was telling Ayala as far as this particular representative is. Let's teach a lot of Filipino Americans how to buy a property in the Philippines, because the buying sequence here is sort of different. But it still needs to be told, and it's work. A lot of people liked it. I like the idea of teaching them step by step as opposed to showing them the products, or rather the property. So again, we appreciate this potential, or rather this ongoing relationship with Ayala. So anyway, enough with that. Let's wrap this up. We've got another few minutes or 15 minutes, but I want to go ahead and really talk about the future. You could choose to be a downer. I'll be honest all day long. You could choose to be a downer right now. That's easy. I could do it right now, right in front of you. I could be like a sad sap right now. That's not a big deal. But what will invigorate you is to look forward for the future and have hope. But I also want to tell everybody, maybe you agree with this, Kay, is that to me, this is a time of innovation. This is a time of chaos. What I mean by chaos is that that's where the opportunity lies. Right. But I also believe that more specifically and relevant to exporters, this is the time for all the Philippine exporters and manufacturers to take baby steps. Because yes, you're dealing with a lot of different things you can't control, but you cannot not be awake and fully aware that even though you may not take these giant leaps, you need to take at least baby steps, and that's what EmPHorium is trying to do for all the Philippine manufacturers, is to get the products here in the U.S., have people experience the product. But I'm using that as an analogy because in anything in life, right now, you may be afraid, but like I said, you got to move a little bit, baby step at a time. I don't know. What do you think?
No, definitely agree. And we're not asking people to take massive risks, right? The comfort zone is, that for a reason, no? But to stay in the comfort zone and not step out even a little bit is detrimental to any growth. So if you are able to look at areas of growth in your business that you would like to kind of explore a little more, I encourage you to definitely do that. Because as you do, you're going to learn something new, and that's going to push the needle further for you. One of the things that I think is also important, and this one, I don't know why, but it's pretty much been the theme for this week for me. As I was talking to my clients and, some people who were asking about, what to do, what to think of. 2023 is upon us again. This year is ending. One of the things that I have realized, just to summarize a lot of the things that I have encountered just in this week, it's really about taking stock of what you need to still learn. So going into the future, there's going to be things that you cannot control. We've already established that. But I want you to also look at the things that you need to still learn. Exporting is one of the things that's going to help you in your business. It's going to allow you new markets. Can you imagine tapping another market outside of the 113 million people of the Philippines, right? That's definitely growth for you. And for you to be able to do that is taking the time to learn how. No? And that's a baby step. There is no risk in education. It's all advantage when you're trying to teach yourself new things. So
and that's the whole thing. You have to have an educated guess. Like I'll be, since we mentioned our network, like for example, when I talk about the reason why I think products like Saint C, right?
Yeah.
I feel like calamansi. Everybody in the Philippines know what calamansi is. There are just certain products that they're so doggone compelling. You cannot just keep it in the Philippines because people will take we'll take it for granted
Correct.
because everybody knows calamansi to a certain degree, right? And if you're just going to keep it there, it's not going to have the same excitement as if you were going to go ahead and maybe market it to another country who's never heard of calamansi. But because we know, being from the Philippines, that the product, that particular product, if Italy, I mean, I hate to say it like this, if Italy made something out of the lemon, right? You know, why can't you not have, calamansi as that same sort of citrus fruit that's specialized in the Philippines, or like an iconic thing?
Exactly. You know what? One of the things, right? Marketing is also one of the things that my background, right? And I'm thinking, a lot of times us Filipinos, we look at the calamansi and we're like, yeah, whatever. It's that little fruit. Guess what, right? A little fruit with a lot of impact, much like the Filipino. No, little people with a lot of impact, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
I think it's really about perspective too, right? So definitely consider exporting, definitely. And that is, I guess, why I keep on introducing people to you, because I think sometimes, when they start their businesses, they're very kind of not closed minded, but very kind of limited in what they can accomplish. And for them to even sell into Luzon is already a big deal. For them to sell nationwide, an even bigger deal. For them to sell outside of the country, quite an impossibility. And I am so happy that there is now, something that, the things that you do that can actually help them. One of the companies I also coach is called EcoNest, right? EcoNest is a truly biodegradable packaging product. And in the Philippines, everybody understands biodegradable sustainability and all that. Why? Because we've got a sanitation issue. No, we want things cleaner, obviously, right?
Yep.
um and what right now, it's an issue on cost, an issue on whatever, right? But this company has started to produce specific packaging that can have branding, and because of that, they're now thinking of going outside of the country, right? And
Mm-hmm.
why? Because suddenly the cost issue in the Philippines is going to be nothing, really comparative, right? Nothing to those who are spending dollars abroad.
Yeah.
It's a brainer. It's
That's
anyway.
why what we're saying here, I mean, we're sort of putting the brakes on trying to give business ideas, but it's not so much the business ideas that we're so much promoting here. It's like the whole thought process is
Yeah,
what I am excited about. It could be
yeah,
anything. Honestly,
yeah,
it's just that we need to be specific on what we're saying, and that's what you were doing. So that's why, to me, we're talking about exporting because that is so many benefits to the
yeah,
country. But
yes,
again, we're also relying on the fact that you're picking this up as more like a mindset as opposed to a
yes,
specific industry that we're targeting in terms of the way we're talking about
for
the
sure,
mindset. Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
So I want to say hello to Mark Pagayon, who is always a big supporter. I'm trying to introduce him to an entity in the Philippines regarding agriculture, because his company is going to play a big role if they're able to get into the agricultural side of the government, because they have a product that will help nurture soil and create a lot more
Wow.
nutrients, I guess, for a lack of more
Yeah,
detail, of
yeah.
growing and processing the product. And I'm
Wow.
excited for him to also support us, because he's sort of kind of like, because of our conversation a long time ago, he started to research import export, and he's a perfect example where he wasn't
Yeah.
in this industry, but he
Yes.
read, like you said, he read because there's a certain feeling or passion that he had that came out by researching it, and he's more all about now helping create livelihoods first and foremost. But obviously, there's always a reason. Everybody has different reasons for a lot of things, but the biggest reason for him is really that um, he's very spiritual in many ways, and that's why I like about this gentleman, because that's probably what his mindset is, and having to endure or to go through all the things that are going through in life, but also in his own personal life. So anyway, thanks, Mark, for doing that. I just wanted to go ahead and address you that way and tell everybody what you do and how you do it as an example of what Kay and I have been talking for the past hour. And speaking of that past hour, Kay, we need to do more of this because we get so into it, and I love it. I like the conversation that you and I have. We should have done this earlier, but I will have you the last word, so to speak, before I sign off, and go ahead and say what you want to say, whether it be your company, a mindset, whatever you want to say to leave our audience with.
Thank you, Kuya, for this opportunity, and for everyone who's going to watch this, who's watching right now. Thank you so much for letting us entertain and educate, hopefully, everyone. I just like to leave you with really, that phrase, attitude is, of gratitude is so important because, a lot of times it's a fluffy phrase, but think of the opposite. If you had negativity every day, if you were eating negativity for breakfast, how is that going to help you? How is that going to help you at all? Right?
Yeah.
Right? So
I almost feel like I want to add on to that really quick, and I didn't want to take away from you, but it's just like I almost feel like you don't have a choice. What do you want when you wake up? You want to wake up and lean into the negativity? I mean, obviously there's got to be something negative to appreciate positive, right? So, but a lot of people lean too much into the negative aspect of things, but not to say that you shouldn't be negative, but it's just part of it, but don't lean so much into it.
Correct. So there is a part of our lives where it's reality. There is something there that's going to be negative, that's going to present itself as negative. But as people, we have a choice. We have the capacity to decide what we are going to choose to look at. What are you going to focus on, really? Is it going to help yourself? Is it going to help everyone who's relying on you, right? Because let me tell you this, what you appreciates. What you appreciates,
Yes.
right? For lack of a better, let me leave you with that phrase, and hopefully, I mean, whatever it is that you're going through, there is always a way
look, again, there's somebody who's watching. His name is Jiro Tamasi. He has a great product called M2 Malunggay. It's in the Philippines. He's here now, right? So he's a great supporter of the show as well as what we're trying to do. So with him, I love talking to this gentleman on a weekly basis because, if you're talking about mindset, you're talking about support group or whatever. Yeah, you got to have one of those. You got to have a Jiro on your side to talk about certain things for the love of trying to create livelihood. So that's another perfect example of what I mean, why people moving towards the future need to have like that. Just like that's what you said, Kay, the networking. So anyway.
That's right. So just to leave you with my call sign, so you can find me at Navigating Careers on Facebook and Instagram. I also have a YouTube channel, but I'm more active on Facebook. So thank you so much again for this opportunity. If there's anyone who would, like to talk about their business, just brainstorm about, challenges and stuff like that, I live for that. So let me know.
I'm gonna market the crap out of this video because, like I said, these are the moments where people need to have conversations and really relate more so than ever. I mean, in any sort of chaotic environment, yes, you that's your go-to talk, right? But more so now, but have a conversation with people of different perspectives. I never shied away from people having different perspectives, only because I appreciate either mine from a perspective, again from a comparison, but not to say that I'm better, but maybe I'm doing something wrong, or maybe I'm not thinking of it this way.
Correct. Correct. It's an openness, right? It's an openness to different ideas. Yeah. And critical thinking is done best when there is that openness.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to say goodbye to you, dear cousin, and we'll do this again. But I love it because I made my personal goal to make sure this thing happened between you and me in terms of doing the live stream, because that's what I said to you that I wanted to do, because I see the cycle that right now, to a certain degree, a lot of people maybe turned tuned out already because it's the holidays and all that, right? But I wanted them to prepare for the coming year. As much as there's a lot of different news and things of that nature, good and bad, please lean into the good side as much as possible. You can't help it. You're only human. You're going to go like this to the side, right? Like this, to the dark side, whatever you want to call it. But you have to know how to push yourself to the left side or whatever side you think is the good side and go from there. And that's what takes strength for you to be able to do that. And strength comes from the people that care about you, love you, and all of that. And that's what's important. So anyway, I'll let you go, Kay. And thanks again for being on our humble live stream, dear cousin.
Thank you so much. More power to you.
All right, everybody. That pretty much wraps up the show live at the EmPHorium, special edition with Kai Imperial Soriano StaCruz, executive life coach. The title of the episode was Insights and Practical Approaches of Gratitude in Business and How It Helps. Next week, we're going to feature someone. It's not live selling again. It's something like this. We're trying to bring guests in that can help you become more successful in the coming year, to prepare for it now. So next year, we're going to have Nat Flores. Next week, we're going to have Nat Flores talk about how to be successful in Amazon, because they're an expert. They're a company in Florida that teaches people how to do this, not from the perspective of just how to be a seller, but talking about branding, talking about how to use the analytics, how to price your product if you're a Philippine exporter to see if it's going to sell here in the U.S. So with that being said, every one of you, thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and find my outro so that we can go ahead and say goodbye to everybody. But at the end of the day, you guys have been awesome. And thank you so much for watching and continue to support. And all those people that watch, Mark and Giro, the one who made a comment, thank you so much, guys, for watching us. And hopefully you shared it. Thank you. Currently live in EmPHorium.